This week, we're going to talk about how you can essentially emulate your ideals. There are things that you surround yourself with throughout your life, and those things ultimately shape and mold who you are, your values, your beliefs. And I want to talk about some of the things that shape and mold me, the things I'm most proud of when it comes to who I am and where I got here today. And every week, we don't know where this is going. You don't know. I don't know. And let's enjoy the ride. First and foremost, though, one thing I always want to talk about, I talked about it starting last week, is showing gratitude. So last week I talked about being habitual with best practices. And one of the things I struggle with is gratitude. So I'm going to show some gratitude this week. Gratitude shout out, I guess that's what we'll call it. I'll probably change it up next week because I'll forget. It goes to my girlfriend. My girlfriend, Carolyn, and I have been together, call it 3 years and some change with a break in service. We're back together. We're strong. And I'm extremely grateful for her for continually pushing me and reminding me of what I say and what I do and how much it impacts the world around me, and to be conscious of it and conscious of my actions and my ideals. I mean, it goes into what I'm saying. Second thing, Words Fucking Matter. That's the book, available online, Amazon. Go pick it up there. Audiobook, soft cover, whatever you got. Also available in bulk if you hit me up on my website, andywines.com. I will send out a bulk order for a much reduced price, and I'll sign them and address them, because the whole goal is to get that information out there. I utilize my book as my business card. I want people to experience who I am in the written form, and then it allows us to have a greater conversation and relationship thereafter. So let's talk about how I got here today, experiencing my ideals. I looked around and I saw what people were doing successfully, and I said, okay, how do I get that? How do I get the results that they're having that I don't yet have? And so I copied them. I plagiarized, even to a point where one of my favorite books I read this last year is Steal Like an Artist. It's a book that basically says nothing is original. I'll pull up a quote here. It literally says, nothing is original, so embrace influence. School yourself through the work of artists, remix and reimagine to discover your own path. Follow interests wherever they take you. What feels like a hobby may turn into your life's work. I read this book. And then my book, I literally, the texture is the exact same. The black and white nature is the same. It literally says nothing is original and steal ideas. I'm sitting here on Experience Andy Wines Live, reference another book. You look at these together, you're like, oh yeah, those look like they go together. I read that book. I read his other books, and I put it all together. And then I think back on my life and why am I the way I am? And I am the way I am because of the original influence I had early in my life, which was being raised in a two-parent household in the burbs, and then spending my summers on the farm, going to Catholic grade school, eventually going to public high school. Like, all those things shaped and molded me, and I didn't have much of a say at the time. It's what I was born into. And then I decided after high school, I moved out of my parents' house. I went working right away. I was not college bound, and I couldn't get in the Army at the time. So working at places like UPS and Best Buy and Marco's Pizza, and the people I surrounded myself with then influenced me. And then I got in the Army, and they influenced me. And it wasn't really until I was in the Army for over 10 years, and I attended a school called Master Resiliency Training in 2014. So I'd been in the Army 10 years at that point, deployed to Iraq, gearing up to go to a deployment to Gitmo. And I first learned, really as an adult, how much control and how much regulation, really is a better word, regulation, not control, regulation I had over myself. I am a product of the things I allow into my life. My brother Tyler, he has a new song out, and it talks about how there's 10,000 doors that open out and one door that opens in. There's only one person. You allow what comes into you, and then you push out what you want. That's your choice. So you choose. Yes, there's all these influences. I was talking to Taylor right before the show, the producer, and he's, oh, you should talk about Elon Musk. And I was like, I love Elon Musk. He's my guy. I go, what's going on? And he's, oh, Twitter, blah, blah, blah. I guess people are bitching about Elon Musk today. It's, hold on, I stay my ass off of Twitter. Right? Let's go back to start, stop, continue methodology of change. I stay away from Twitter. I stay away from MSNBC, CNN, and Fox, right? Equal, right, left, whatever, bullshit. I stay away from it because that influences me in a way, in a direction I don't want to go. I talked about gratitude with my girlfriend, and during the 2020 elections, we first started dating. She's like, you're really political. I'm like, I'm really not. I was then. I was paying attention to a point where it wasn't positive and it didn't influence me in the way I wanted to be influenced. So it's up to you. I learned this in Master Resiliency Training. It's up to me what I allow in. And what do I do that gets me where I'm at today? One of my favorite quotes is, we are what we repeatedly do. Therefore, excellence is not an act, but a habit. And I looked it up real quick. Aristotle, I just wanted to hear his reference. And the first article I read, It's from a guy, a blog from 6 years ago where he said, actually, Aristotle didn't even say that. Someone else said that. I still ascribe to it, right? I don't care. I never met the guy, right? I don't know if Aristotle wrote it, Plato wrote it, or some other random person wrote it in history. It works for me when I choose not to do the things that make me who I am. I am getting away from excellence because I know I have habit-forming behaviors. And when I'm in line with those habit-forming behaviors, I'm doing the things I want to do. Whether it's the physical stuff like fasting, going to the gym, playing volleyball, doing that. It's the mental stuff like slowing down and breathing. Or I spent, like this morning, I had a 90-minute commute this morning. I did not turn on the radio, no YouTube, nothing. I spent 90 minutes thinking, spent 90 minutes in my head working through problems that I could not solve already. That's what I did. That was my time. That's the closest I get to meditation regularly because I choose to make that a habit. And I think about all the other people and places that influence the world. Elon Musk, 2 weeks ago, when he was talking about the advertisers, going back to the Elon Musk kick, he was talking about his advertisers and like, if you say something controversial and your advertisers leave, what are you going to do then? He's like, fuck them. I don't want their fucking money. He was like, even blatant and unbecoming, unprofessional for even me. I was like, holy, wow, it's like, F-bomb every other word. Let's go, Elon. Fuck them. I don't need their money. I don't want their money. In a capitalistic society where money rules all, he just said, fuck it. I don't need their money. I don't want their money. I'm not going to bend because freedom of speech to him is more important than anything else. A video that came out today on LinkedIn that I shot, it came up from a clip from one of these, was all about how my why is to be unapologetically myself. And the reason is when I was down and out, when I was coming back from my deployment to Gitmo, I had an EO, an equal opportunity investigation against me. I had 8 charges saying I was sexist and racist. All 8 charges came back unfounded. And in the military, you can be founded, unfounded, or unfounded, but possibly true or probably true. The due process of the military is not what we enjoy here in the United States. Civilians, right? All 8 charges came back unfounded. Not even a smidgen of truth there. However, it came back that I was a toxic leader and I was an asshole and I was doing things overly aggressive. That was their determination, right? People determined that. Fine. I ended up getting kicked out of my platoon. I went to the inspector general, which is like your HR department, for lack of a better term. I ended up getting kicked out of my company because I was bringing forth concerns. I was down and out. I was going through a divorce. I let all these people tell me who I was. It influenced my life, and I thought so little of myself. I considered myself to be a failure. I went back to that wounded inner child I was, growing up as a kid, thinking nice guys finish last, thinking I'm never going to be good enough for this world. And then I heard a video. 6 minutes and 36 seconds changed my life. Les Brown, Goldcast. I can tell you where I was. I was sitting there at the PX at Fort Bliss outside of El Paso, Texas. The PX is the Post Exchange. It's like a mall. I'm in a little food court area with an iPad because I didn't have a phone at the time that had Wi-Fi. And I'm sitting there with an iPad on the Wi-Fi, listening with headphones on, listening to motivational videos because that's what I needed. I felt alone. I was alone in Gitmo. I was alone when I got back home. And I listened to a video that was 6 minutes and 36 seconds, which was a snidbit of a speech that Les Brown did years ago. And he talked about how people's opinion of you is none of your business. And that changed my life. Because up until that point, I valued so much what people thought about me, how they felt about me. I allowed others, 10,000 voices to come in, open door, and beat me up and tell me who I was to them. And then they walked away. And something they said that maybe never thought twice about it, I thought about it 1,000 times over. I let it impact the way I operated, the way I thought about myself, the way I walked into the world. And then one voice, Les Brown's voice, 6 minutes, 36 seconds, told me it's none of my business to hear what they've said. I've listened to that video and watched that video no less than 500 times in my life. I can sit here today and admit that I've watched that video on loop when I was going through my divorce and I was suicidal and I was depressed and I was down and out, and I would listen to that video, and that video has shaped and saved my life. And now, when I hear about people saying, oh, Andy this or Andy that, or I don't agree with this on him, and I don't, awesome. That's your perspective. Unless I asked or I value your perspective, I can't let it into my world. I don't fucking care. There are going to be the sometimes, the always, and the never people. And the never people are the ones that got the biggest fucking voice. There's a great TEDx video. I can't recall who wrote about it. This woman that spoke it, rather. And she says, walk in the arena naked. We often walk into the arena of life with our coat of arms and our sword ready to take on the battles of life. And she said, no, walk out naked. Because the people up there in the cheap seats, they're gonna fucking take their shots at you anyways. They're gonna talk shit about you. And the thing is, that, for me, lives rent-free in my fucking head. That's a me problem. So it's got to be my choice to walk out there unapologetic, who I am. Remember how the fuck I got here. Remember who helped me along the way and supported me along the way. And remember those voices. Remember the people that have touched me personally and professionally, that have encouraged me and promoted me and pushed me. I got a great CEO roundtable, Vistage roundtable. I meet with them once a month for 8 hours. Think about the people that have invested in me. Let those people, their perspectives matter to me because I matter to them. Allow the people like Elon Musk and Les Brown and Mark Cuban and the list of people that I go to when I need to remind myself who the fuck I am. Let that come in. Let that shape who I am and where I'm going. And my challenge to you is simple. There's going to be the sometimes, the always, and the never people in this world. Stop. Start, stop, continue methodology and change. Stop listening to the never people that will never understand you, never get you, never support you, never walk a mile in your shoes. Stop listening to their bullshit. Continue listening to people that always support you. Continue leaning into those pillars of success that you've already defined in your world. And start finding the people that sometimes might resonate with you, sometimes will support you. And they'll get more and more people that support you. When I'm talking about people, I'm saying people, memes, books, poems. I don't give a shit. Put the right words in your brain. And when you put your right words in your brain, you will go out, you will live your ideals, you will emulate the people and places and things that you look up to. You will go out, you will do the fucking thing, you will tell the fucking world, and you will show the fuck up. I'm going to see you next week.